Welcome to another show within a show. I gotta find ways to make these intros more spicy. You would think after 1,000, I would have it narrowed down by now.
Hot sauce.
What?
So you need to make them more spicy. This is a hot sauce. I don't know.
Okay.
Go in there, dangle some jalapeno peppers over your head.
So I found out recently, I was wondering why my computer was saying my memory was full. And it does it on my phone too, but it's from all the updates. Like every update that an iPhone has, it's like 3 gigabytes. And I only have 50 gigabytes. So eventually the iPhone just comes to a point where I used to have like 5 different apps to play games on. Now I got one. So maybe it's good. There's the good part. There's the positives. It's limiting the amount of games I can play on my phone. But I'm kind of addicted in a sense to where I just turn on my iPad. But it's an Amazon Fire because I don't know if you remember this like 4 years ago, where the Amazon tablets, they were really cheap and everybody was getting like a little Amazon Fire thing.
Yes.
I haven't turned it on in 4 years. So it's like updating is going to take 10 minutes. Dude, it's done it for 3 days straight, just constantly finishing and then still updating and then finishing again. And then the screen goes black. It comes back on, updating. Give me 10 minutes. I'm like, this has been going on for 3 days straight. I've just had it plugged into the wall where it's just completing and then going back and completing and going back. I'm like, I think it's broken.
Yeah, it's not. It's obsolete. Planned obsolescence. That's why I don't put the PlayStation 4 on anymore. It just takes too much time.
Well,
By the
there's like,
time I don't have this kind of time to wait around for it to do its thing.
well, so what was happening is my computer has been getting really, really slow. And I was wondering why. And they're like, well, your memory's full. And I'm like, well, let me check my local disk. I check it. It's got like at least 600 something gigabytes left on it. Everything's on my terabyte drive where I keep all my podcasts. And I'm like, all right, well, let me check my iCloud. The iCloud, nothing's there. It's just like, oh, it's space. It's so much for you. I was like, okay, well then why is it telling me my memory's full? So I click onto my Adobe Creative Cloud where I always edit my podcasts, and each episode I put on there, and then I upload it, and then I delete it, and then I do another one, and then I do that. They're all on there, all 1,000 almost. And I was like, oh my God. And each one is 50 megabytes. So that's 50 per episode, plus any content I've ever created besides the show episodes. And I'm like scrolling through and I'm like, all right, well, I'll delete all these. No, there's no delete all button. You have to individually select.
Click all. Can
So
you do like the control?
No. So I'm sitting there. I have to go click, click, click. Eventually, I got to the point where I was hitting the down arrow and then hitting enter and just going really, really fast doing that and missing a couple and then going back to those. But then once I deleted them, it puts them in I deleted them in
the delete file. They're in the trash.
Yeah, it's in the trash, but it still said the same amount of data is still being used. I'm like, so wait, I have to go in here and hit permanently delete. And then it's like, are you sure for each one? I'm like, this is going to take me fucking ages.
I don't know.
I was reminiscing though. I was looking through.
Can you do just a master wipe? Like,
but it's funny because
do you have anything else saved that you need? No, right? Like where you can just back.
There is no master wipe for that. It's not like your hard drive where you can just reset it. It's a cloud account. It goes up into that device like a cloud thing.
Oh, fuck that shit. Kill that account, homie, and start over.
I don't even understand what the cloud is. I could ask anybody to try and explain the cloud to me. They're like, well, it's a place where all your pictures and everything goes.
This fucking CIA lab, goes there first, and then it goes to the cloud.
It gets logged somewhere. It's like you have to, apparently, if you have a family sharing plan, you have to have one device that's like the cloud kind of home that holds all the data. Yo, if your kid's taking dick pics on his phone and you guys share the same cloud, you're seeing those on your iPad. Like me and my buddy, we family share. I don't know why we're not even on the same phone plan, but we did something to where we could just like see each other's like texts or do whatever. I don't know.
You're seeing more now, huh?
Well, no, nothing like that. I shouldn't have started with the dick thing. But I was, because I see like all the stuff he's doing in his games because we're linked onto that part. But I'm like, what am I getting his data? What is this? Like, it's so hard because it's like I don't know. I'm confused, very, very confused. But back to my major point was I saw your first episode was on there when I was deleting everything. I was like, oh my God. So I was reminiscing. I was like, holy shit. Like all the people that I know now, it's been so long. It's like, dude, it's been a fucking journey.
Yeah. 1,000 episodes, huh?
And the world's just gotten to more shit.
So, but you do one every single day, right? So
yes.
What is that, like 3 years?
Yes.
change or
about
so.
about 3 years, coming up in December, I think, when it hits 1,000, because 365, so it's
Right.
365.
Times 3.
Yeah.
Gets you about
But in the
1,000.
beginning, remember, I was only doing like the first 100, I was doing them once every week.
Okay. Yeah, so it still averages out, I would say.
About 3.5
About
years.
3 years. You need a break, man.
Well, it's the ending of the show soon, so
That's what I'm saying. It's time.
it's time.
Everything.
It's time to fucking move
Nothing
on
lasts
to the
forever.
next thing. Be a
Gotta go.
Sherpa in the mountains for the rest of my life.
I was just thinking about that. One of my friends, he climbed Everest, and I
Is
still
he
don't
dead?
believe it that he made. No, he made it.
Oh,
He didn't go up to like the peak. Him and his dad went. He's a young guy, but not like someone that you would think climbing Everest. More along the lines of just kind of like chilling, hanging out.
I've thought about that, because it's like a common, like if you look up common bucket list things to do,
Yeah.
that's a very common bucket list thing. Everyone's like, I want to climb the highest mountain. I want to climb Everest. And I'm like, I thought about doing that, but then I looked, and like if you just like if you're up the line going up to Everest, if you fall, the altitude is so low that the people can't stop and help you, because then they can die. So they
Mm-hmm.
just leave you for dead. So I
Mm-hmm.
just picture a bunch of like climbers just like frozen fucking solid, like Mr. Deed style, like just laying on the ground. And I'm like, that's fucking horrible. So I like wipe my hands with that shit. I am
Well,
not
that would
doing
be
that.
your job as a Sherpa, would be to go up there and get
My
those guys down.
I'm not a heights guy, but anything on the ground I'll do. Like anything speed wise, I love fucking speed. I love like
You're
I
not
like
moving
all that
fast
stuff.
up there.
But when it comes to heights and like people are like jumping out of air balloons and shit, I'm like, I'm good, because there's that one chance that your fucking parachute doesn't work. And I know my life is so awkward. I've always get placed in awkward situations. That would be me. The one time I'm like, pull the cord, and I pull it, and it's like somebody's picnic basket flies out of my fucking thing.
I just heard a story about a guy like was a photographer, and he would film the jumps, and he did so many of them that like he got so overconfident of it that he mistook his like camera bag for his parachute
Jesus
and just
Christ.
slung that shit on and jumped out the airplane and didn't realize that he didn't have a parachute until he went to pull the cord, and he was like,
We're
oh.
heading into the drop zone.
And it
Pull
like
the cord. He pulls the cord.
filmed
His
the whole
fucking
thing,
his
like,
Nikon camera flies out of the fucking back of the thing. That's my tripod. What the fuck?
oh fuck yeah, like at this moment you fucked up.
I mean, is there anything that you would do that you haven't done?
Would do that I haven't done. Yeah, I had a kid.
No, I mean, like you still left to do. God damn it! Not you already did that task. That's off your bucket list now.
That's like the Mount. That was my Mount Everest. That was the thing that
I've been thinking about psychedelics.
I've done all the ones I want to do. I don't want to do anymore.
See, that's the thing though, is like if I'm the type of person that I know if I take psychedelics, I couldn't even handle weed, where I feel like I would just never come back.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, that's a good reason. If I do stop at 1,000, it's probably, I'm just going to take a break, but I could take mushrooms. And then if it does fuck me up, I don't have to worry about, trying to keep my conversational flow. Imagine if I become like a mute.
Yeah, it definitely does mess with your conversation. I'm going to say most of my brain damage is done from the hallucinogens.
I kind of picture it like Rock Band, where you're playing Rock Band and you have the notes are coming at you and you have to hit them as they're going. That's like how a conversation is. Like you're hitting the words that are coming at you. But then if you take mushroom, it's like if someone broke the track that all the notes are coming on. There's no notes anymore. Now you have to just fucking try and find them. It's like star power.
It's pretty much like, are you seeing this? Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Well, Ron White took it and he stopped drinking.
Mike Tyson takes it a lot, but like those are like micro doses. So, and that's really what it comes down to, is to how much you dose yourself. Like, I would start small and get bigger as your brain gets stronger.
Dip my toes into it.
Yeah, you have to have a strong mind. Like, I wouldn't start off with ayahuasca or whatever the fuck that shit is that you need a tour guide in the jungles of the Amazon.
Oh, how'd you go to jungles? You could have said Sherpas.
No, it's not the Sherpas that help you with the ayahuasca. Dude, altitude sickness is actually almost like a hallucinogenic fucking trip, because of you were talking about the being up so high. you don't get air, and it really does mess with you. Um, I think that's why they say like you go on these pilgrimages and these mountain climbing things, and it's almost like a journey of a psychedelic trip, just because you're not functioning right. You're not getting enough oxygen in your system, so your nervous system and perception is just way off.
But do you necessarily want to take like people take psychedelics and they bring it up to the point of like it helps me kind of realize everything in front of me. It helps me like hone my life in. It helps me realize who I am. I'm like, but do you want to know who you are? Like, imagine if you're a piece of shit. Like,
It might
that
help you
would
change.
suck to find out.
Help you change though. You'd be like, wow, I need to stop doing these things. That's really fucked up.
It's like fuck, man. Like it's kind of like when I like it's interesting because I was thinking like of Dr. Manhattan. I've been like thinking about it a lot since like the new artwork that came out.
Uh,
So I was like, I get it now. Like where he just like talks about like I don't have any care for any of your petty problems. I was like, yeah, imagine if you were given ultimate power and you knew there was other dimensions and other worlds, lives, anything would not matter at all to you because you're like, this is all insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Why would I want to stay on Earth when I can go to another planet? But we're your family. That doesn't fucking matter to me. There's billions of you out there, billions of copies. You're not even the fucking original.
there's no emotion left then,
Yeah.
or there's one emotion.
Well, I just feel like your brain ends. It's kind of like if you could chalk it up to God or what God must think. It's like everything is just like you can easily just snap your fingers, it's gone, snap your fingers, it's back, do whatever you want. Where like all that power, it's like it's hard to kind of fathom. I mean, it would be hard to keep your sanity as a person. It's like why it's everything's so unrelatable in the movies and all that.
Yeah, it's lonely. It's definitely lonely. The hell is the guy with the Infinity Stones? He wanted to just destroy everything. Thanos.
Thanos, yeah,
Yeah, you know.
good old purple testicle. That's what his chin looked like. It looked like a fucking yeah. You got what I'm saying.
Yeah. Um. So, what are you gonna do when you're done
I'm just taking a little bit of a break. I don't think I'm gonna stop fully.
making movies? That's a good idea. I like
We're
that.
not talking about it. I can't. It's got to
Can't
be a
talk about
surprise. It's a good idea though. I've went in a whole new direction of it. The best part about it is that everyone that's helped me with this thing thinks that it's gonna go this way and it's not. So it's like everyone's gonna see it and be like, "Whoa! Like you didn't tell me this." And it's like that's the point. Only person that
Right.
needs to know about what this thing is going to be is me.
Right.
Because I want everyone to experience it for their first time. There's a lot of wantingness to try things new, but there's not a lot of people doing new things. You know what I mean?
It's hard. What's left to do new?
Rob a bank.
Oh no, that's been done.
Damn it. Well, have you done it?
Thought about it. Had a
Yeah.
plan in
I
place
think
one time.
everybody's fucking thought about
We
it.
we actually had a bank lined up and everything.
There
We were
was
gonna
that
do it
that
on
that that
Halloween.
there was that recent thing on the news about the people that stole over like $100,000 from like a Gucci store or whatever it was. Did you see that?
Like they're doing like flash mob shit, whatever.
Well, apparently they changed the rules on things to where you can steal like under like 35,000 or under
Right.
something amount of money in merch
Mm,
or whatever, and they don't have
right.
to chase you. Well, these people just broke into like a Gucci store and stole like $100,000. I'll pull it up on the
Yeah, they made the laws so that like it's just like whatever, we don't care. So people are like, okay, we're going in.
good. Let's incentivize madness. I'm
Hmm.
down with it. Is the
I mean,
world really like people say like, oh, the world's going to shit? I'm like, it's always been shit. Why are we complaining about like
yeah, it's just our current society is somewhat breaking down a little bit. It's different right now. Uh,
the world will still keep going on, my friend?
yeah,
Yeah, Louis Vuitton. First of all, $100,000 in Louis Vuitton. That's like a
they
fucking
stole
purse.
like a bag, right?
That's a
they
fucking
they stole three
purse.
things, dude. It wasn't
Like
a smash and grab
that
flash
shit's
mob shit.
ridiculous. When someone goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any money," it's like you just told me you had like 60 grand in your bank account. It's like doesn't matter. I actually bought a Versace purse and it's 100% triple stitched. I'm like, you can fucking fall down a well and I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, what do I need that for? I have a bag. I got it for free.
I have one. It's from Target, and it was
Right.
$10 fucking dollars.
I don't even think it cost us $10. You know this? Oh, probably not. So here in the great city of Philadelphia, they decided to get rid of the plastic bags. I know they did this down in
They
DC.
did that a while ago.
Yeah, right. I was there for that, so this is nothing new for me. But
Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
it says Out of Blank Podcast has started screen sharing, but I don't see anything. Do I have to do something?
I think my computer froze.
I
Nope.
see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, thieves steal.
Thieves steal $100,000 in Louis Vuitton merchandise by walking into a store while guard was on break. First of all, I feel so bad. Imagine if that guy's like manning the store and he's like, I'm going to take my 1 minute, or he's like my 10-minute break. He goes to the bathroom, probably to take a shit. I mean, come on, you're standing all day. Then what? He comes back, the whole fucking store's robbed of shit. You're like, oh God. I hope they have a video. I'd like to watch a video of it.
That's what I was hoping was happening, but no.
Because I just want to. Well, they look
I wonder
like
if
they
he
grabbed.
what if he was in on it? Like, if
They
he was
look
like,
like
yeah,
they
listen,
did.
I'm going to take that shit at
You see
3:45.
this? It says bear wanders into 7-Eleven in California, terrifying employee. I mean, I'd be
I'd be
fucking
terrified.
scared too.
Like,
Can
you
I
want some cigarettes, motherfucker?
can I get a fucking video here? That would be great.
I'd just be throwing them shitty ass taquitos at him or whatever, the fucking hot dogs on the roller. Get out. How'd he get in? They
I
know
don't
how to
know. They got
open
a picture
doors.
of it though.
What if that bear
There doesn't
smells
even
them
look like
shitty
there's anything
taquitos?
on the thing before they started stealing shit.
No, like you said, it's like 2 bags. I don't know.
That's gotta
So-
suck though on your break, really. Like you have one job literally to watch the fucking store. And then you go like, I feel so bad for him though. You know, he's probably like, oh damn it, like not again. It's like
He was probably
again.
like, listen, you get in there and get this stuff, and I'll make like 3 months salary out of it, right? You just break me off, and we'll be good. He'll go find another job.
Well, the idea that it's like, don't, I guess it was for safety. It's like, don't stop anybody that's just stealing stuff under this amount of money. But I'm like, that's kind of like you're incentivizing it more. I see that line got drawn because there was a bunch of people at Walmart that, like, my buddy, he got stopped by one of those I think it's loss prevention people, asset protection, for $1 fish tubing, like for air bubbles to go through to feed, like a filter
Right.
the air and like
Right.
water oxygenate it. Guy grabbed him over $1 tubing, and I'm like, it's people like that fucking take their job way too seriously, that probably fail being a cop and do this. And this is like why the world has fucking trust issues. It's like there's a large amount of people out there that just really, really love the idea of power. And it kind of brings into my theory is that you can't be famous and also rich. You have to choose one, because I think that's two corrupted options of power where I feel like you just don't come out to be a sane person. Like if you can name me one person in the world who's rich and famous and is a normal human being,
Dave Chappelle.
he's not really. I mean, he's constantly being shit on, so I don't know.
He's rich and famous. I don't know if he's being shit on. He's fighting with the letter people, but that's his problem there. He just keeps calling them out, but they keep making him more money, so I guess it's reciprocal. What kind of rich and famous are you looking for?
I'm not looking for any rich and famous. I'm just looking for someone who's done it right, that hasn't been like a complete fucking.
Well, let me ask you a question. Who's not rich and famous and is a normal person?
That's fucking true too.
Is there any normal people left out there, or ever were there any? What
I think there's. I don't know, because I don't think normal's a thing. I think everyone's individual. I think normal's just, see, this is what I think is brainwashing. Normal is just a sense of like what abides by the system. That's normal. What is just classic. And I'm like, but has that gotten anybody anything? It's just gotten them in the same exact place over and over and over again. So you could blame that to, maybe that's the reason why society's gone to shit. There's a bunch of people that haven't said anything for so long and let it get so bad to where now everybody's saying something, and necessarily they don't understand the full grasp of what they're thinking about.
So, what you're saying is normal is actually just average, and
Yeah,
the
just
bar
play
for
fucking ping
average
pong. Is that
has
hard?
just continually dropped down so low that like you could be a half decent person and be like
We used to get
awesome right
used
now,
to
right?
go like you used to have like man caves where you would be in your like garage or something or in your basement and you would have a TV set up. Now the man cave has like gone into like I'm going to like camp out on the street and shit. And I'm like, no, that's not it. That's not it. Like what the fuck are we talking about? It's like people have just like overstepped, I guess. I don't know.
On that note, I have noticed that the homeless people have definitely stepped up their living game. They're not in cardboard boxes anymore, man. They got nice fucking tents and shit.
I saw a picture of a two-story tent. I was like, holy shit. No, but that's what's weird is that it's hard to believe that these people like the weird part is they haven't criminalized living on the street down there. They made it open. So then if people are like, well, it's cheaper if we can just live on our own means, live on a free street without anybody bothering us. It might be like a tent living or something, but a lot of people are worried. Like I think what was it like 5, 8 years ago? There was a giant push for like minimalization or minimalist lifestyles.
Right.
And then I think this is people now implementing that. But like there's especially in LA, there's like no like people don't want to pay the taxes down there. It's so expensive to buy a home or even keep a home, or people rather just live on the street and be able to do whatever they want really with it. But like they're not people that are just too dumb to get a job, which people think. They're people that literally they'll hook into one of those electrical wires outside of like the telephone wire things and they'll pull electricity from that. That's a fucking genius. That to me is a Leonardo da Vinci of the street game. Like I couldn't do that. So to think that that person can't get a fucking job is ridiculous. But people think like, well, they're just drug addicts. It's like, no, that's what they tell you. It's very, very fucking. I'm surprised with how much, I guess, scrupulation the media's gotten that people still like reference them. Like even that article I just put up about the Louis Vuitton thing, that was from the New York Post. Fuck the New York Post. Fuck the Washington Post. Fuck any post that isn't my goddamn post office because they deliver my packages. And if any of them ever listen to this, I don't want them to be, we're not delivering to his house anymore. But can they try at all? Can they just try? I mean, I get it. It's USPS, but now they're like, we'll get there when we get there. I'm like, I've never heard that from any delivery motto ever. Pizza Hut was less than 30 minutes. Domino's, we'll get there. USPS is like, we'll get there when we feel like it. I'm like, fucking great. Thank you. I come out, I got a package on Sunday. I come out and it's laying on my front steps. I'm like,
Sunday?
it needed an adult. Yeah, they deliver on Sunday now. You know that, right? Like
No,
US Postal Service delivers on Sunday.
I had no idea.
After the pandemic, it all changed. I used to think that they never delivered on Sunday, but after the
Yeah, that was
pandemic,
it.
I guess they got so far behind that they just started doing like 3 or 4 hours in the day on Sunday where they would deliver packages. And it's
Oh,
like Walmart used to be 24 hours and then now it's not anymore. It's like they had to step up their game to deliver all these packages during COVID. They weren't doing packages. And then there you go. They just
oh,
started doing
now they
this
got
type
them
of
out on
stuff.
Sundays. I was just always looked at those people suspect. Like I'm like, yeah, it's Sunday. You ain't the real mailman. Who you robbing?
Well, some people aren't religious.
Scoping them out.
There used to be an excuse like I can't work on there used to be an excuse like I
Oh,
can't
right.
work on
I got you.
Sundays. And then
I was
people
like,
were
where'd
like,
you go with that?
well, people used to be like, I can't work on Sundays, so don't schedule me Sundays. And they always
Right.
had their Sundays off. And then now it's like,
Against
I
my
don't give a
religion.
oh
I go
my
to
God,
church.
Bobby, you just blew my ears out of my fucking head.
Sorry, man. I forget.
You had to itch your ear really at that moment in time. This is a professional show.
I'm sorry. I'm not.
Okay.
It's 6:50 in the morning.
What's been
I
going
was
on
like, he
in
only calls me on because I'm the only person who comes on at this time.
I have a lot of people, but I was like, I need to talk. I love talking to you. We always get into these fucking scavenger hunts.
Did you see Target's not going to open on Christmas Day? That's
Good,
another change, right?
good.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so happy that they started doing Black Friday earlier. Like, why did they make it one day so they can watch you fight over a 42-inch TV and a foosball table? They didn't give a fuck if they killed your grandma. Nobody cared. It was like there's a lot of things that are going on where I'm like, yeah, why have we been doing that for so long? Like it's bread and circus constantly.
Yeah. How many TVs do you need?
I
How
don't
many
know.
big
When I
flat
see
screen
one that's like,
TVs do you
dude,
need?
they have a 32-inch for like $150, and I was
I
like,
know. Can you imagine that? It's so
sometimes I'm
crazy.
cooking pasta sauce and I would like to watch sports. You know what I mean? Like, get a little 32-inch right in the middle of the kitchen.
It's crazy. The flat screens are so cheap now. We're paying like almost $3,000 for one. Now I could have like 10 of them for that much money.
I think what I'm starting to see a lot of now is there's a lot of deals for like hobbies, which is interesting because like I think it's
A lot
starting
of
to,
people picked up hobbies during the
yeah.
pandemic. Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
it's like I saw an iced coffee machine like that was for sale for $20. And I was like, what the fuck?
An iced coffee
Isn't it
machine.
just putting ice in a coffee? But it's like, no,
Coffee.
this makes iced coffee. And I'm like, you're just going after the people that are like getting sick and tired of Starbucks's bullshit.
It's not a cold brew one, right? Like that's a little bit different.
Is there a difference?
Yeah. There's cold brew, and then there's hot brew, which is like the normal. Everybody does hot
What
brew.
about a mild temperature brew?
You kind of consider that cold brew.
Can I get a room temp coffee?
No, with the cold brew, you have to just like pour water into coarse grounds and let it sit for a day. And then that strain it, and then the water that's left over is some really high octane coffee that you can water down. It's so intense.
Thanks.
Yeah.
For that information. I don't just give me the fucking coffee, man. It's like at Starbucks where they're trying to like people go like, why do they always talk to you so much? I'm like, because they're trying to tell you all the work that they're putting into your fucking drink. And then people are like, no, just give me the coffee. It's like they're trying to like, can you
Did you see
give me a pat on the back?
did you see the thing about service workers aren't your don't have to do a more emotional support tasks or something like that because somebody put in their Starbucks order and said, I'm having a tough day. Can you write something inspirational on my cup?
It used to be like they would write something like "man the fuck up," and now it's like "I'm so sorry. Here's my phone number. Here's my social security number, and here's all this type of stuff."
You're a great person. You can do it. I don't know. They just wanted
I'm
something.
not mad at that. It's not bad. I
But
think
like,
there's
can you like how balls like I don't know to think that the person making your coffee you could just solicit that. Usually it was just like unsolicited if they wrote it on there. Now their request. It's like a DJ request. I'm just a fucking barista, man. I'm just here making coffee for fucking
they don't
health
have to do it.
benefits.
They can just say no to it. But people like the idea of doing it. It's like a fun thing to do with their horrible job. You got to find a way to make the day fun, man.
Right, but to have someone ask you to write something on there, no, doesn't that kind of kill the mood?
No.
No.
They're like, oh my God, I got free range. It's kind of like when they give you crayons at the restaurant and you're like, oh, I can write on the table. And then you just lose your shit. Like, because you start doing a bunch of stuff. You start drawing dicks and stuff. And then you're eating a 42-ounce steak while there's just a penis off to the side. The waiter's like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid?
Oh, Robbie.
What? What? I'm not wrong.
No. No. What else is going on in the world? You see,
Man, it is early for you. I'll even let you shuffle and get some coffee and shit too. And you're still slowing.
I got a kid now, man. It's
What does that mean?
she wears me out. I don't get up early anymore.
Congratulations. Here's your A+ for having sex.
She's too much energy, man.
Yeah,
It's the one drawback I have, and I'm 1 year older.
just wait till you get to put her in like a slave type thing where she has to work on your fucking food truck.
Can't wait. We've been training her. I'm training
I'm
her
gonna
to feed the
move.
cat.
Find me a home down by you. I'll work your truck.
Yeah, I'm working on getting a nice big place. I'll rent you out the back garage.
I don't need to live in your garage. I'm asking for a separate home that's affordable to live in.
There's this wonderful thing. It's called
Zillow.
Yeah.
I tried it. It doesn't work
Trulia.
out too well.
Trulia. You want me to give you a number of an agent?
It's
They're
just
helpful
everyone's so
sometimes.
strict on there. I'm looking at the thing that's like absolutely no this app. As soon as I read the word absolutely on anything, I'm like, fuck you. Like, don't fucking tell me how to live my life. Like,
I would like try and live outside the city. Fucking city.
I should go get a 2-story tent.
You could.
That should be a
Sleep
Black
under
Friday
95.
special. 2-story tents. You know, someone pulled them aside, was like, look, we cannot incentivize people to go live on the fucking street. You psychopath.
I look at some of these tents. I'm like, I know that tent. That's a fucking $250 tent
I
right there,
know that
homie.
I've seen that tent before.
You got money for a tent like that? You got money for rent, my dogs? What you
I
doing?
just picture you. Is that the Black Friday special? Is that the Black Friday special?
I used to be an outdoorsman. I used to camp.
I mean, it's nice. I think it helps you kind of reset in a way. It's just,
It does. It reminds me that I don't want to be homeless living on the fucking street in a tent.
I mean, for me, I love nature. So like I'm looking through like old pictures on my cell phone of like sunsets that I took and sunrise pictures that I was taking. I was like, damn, yeah, if I do move, I will miss this like beautiful ocean that I kind of have never really, because I never go and see it really ever. But like, you know, when you actually go out and you start exploring a little bit, you realize how beautiful the world is. I think that helps reset a lot of people, because I think a lot of people just see it through the phone, and the phone on social media shows it in like the worst of lights. Like you see someone get shot in the head, then that person shoots themselves, and then someone picks up their gun and shoots themselves. You're like, Jesus Christ, it's fucking 10 a.m.
Yeah. Burn it down. No. Well, I mean, that's why you should live in the real world and not Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse. I watched the fucking infomercial for that last night, and that was scary as hell.
Are you excited? I'm excited.
For metaverse?
I'm going to fucking enter into it and never leave.
It reminds me of like what PlayStation tried to do with their little like Matrix universe thing they had. Like you could go and hang out.
Do you remember that game where it was like an action game? Like they would play a Warzone style thing, and they would actually control a convict. And if they won like 30 battles or something, they would be off death row and set free.
You mean the movie Running Man?
No, I could look it up on Hulu. I watched it yesterday on the trip.
It's a video game?
No, it's a fucking movie.
Yeah, Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, I would know if Arnold was in it. Jesus.
That's like, yeah, you got to see that. That's probably like the original, and this is just some dumb spin-off of that shit.
No, this show came out, or this movie came out a long time ago,
Yeah.
like 2008. I remember because I was watching, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is an older show."
The 90s.
What?
90s. The 90s is when Running Man came out.
Okay.
You're
having like your own conversation in your head. That's great. Thank you.
Because I don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah.
Oh my god, it's gonna take me forever to find it.
Yeah.
It's the guy who plays in all those White House movies where he has to save the White House.
Yeah, that guy. Kevin Costner.
It's funny because you could toss out a random name and I'd say yes because I don't know his name either.
Anyway.
Yep. Oh, it's called Gamer. That's what I thought it was called. Gamer. It's human players control death row inmates in a virtual war game where prisoners can win their freedom if they survive. Gerard Butler is the guy.
Gerard Butler. That was my second guess.
He was the Sparta dude. But it's like, it's interesting because before they had the Warzone game, they had a game called Society. And it was a bunch of people using actual people. Like they had these things that would hook into the neurons into your brain, and it would spread amongst the cells. So you could actually control these players. So people they get money by, so it's like this. So I say, let's pitch it to you. If you want to be in the game, or if you want to play one of the characters in the game, which would you choose?
Play one of the characters in the game.
You want to play one of the characters in the game?
No,
so you don't want to be in the game?
No, I don't want to be in the game.
Okay, so you would have to pay like a large sum of money, and then you would get to do whatever you want with one of these characters. And one of these characters that you're playing as is a real, actual person.
Right, yeah.
So
Okay.
that means with these people that volunteer to do these types of things, they get paid. You pay money to control one of these people. But the people that get paid, the issue is that if your fucking player or the person who's controlling you decides that they want to shoot up meth, or they want to do whatever the fuck they want, then you're shooting up meth.
Oh, really? Like you're connected like that?
Yes.
Oh, well, because they're controlling you in that sense.
So like you have no action. So you basically are just along for the ride.
Right. That's why I wouldn't want to be in that position.
So then, like, you just gotta hope to God your player's in like a 14-year-old kid that just wants to go have on like a sex rampage with a bunch of people you never want to have sex with.
What if we are in the game and that's what's happening to us?
I
We have
think
no
the
control
metaverse
over it.
is gonna get. I'm not scared of the metaverse. The only thing I'm scared about it is that if you tried to sue Facebook, they'll be like, fine, sue Facebook, and it's like, well, where's my money then? Why are you so happy if I sue you? It's like, well, all our stock options are in the metaverse, not Facebook. And it's like, what? It's like there's nothing
Yeah,
over at Facebook. It's a
right.
rundown
It's a
fucking
shell
shack.
company.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you can't even
that's
sue it anymore.
probably what he's doing just to hide stuff. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
like in New York,
or
they have a park that's being torn down, and the city, like nobody's fighting it, so they're going to tear down this park. But in their clause, like they're talking about like they're going to make room for, we're going to tear down this park, we're going to clean it up, so there's no like meth heads hanging out at it. But in the clause, it says if it does get to a point where money is needed, we'll build apartments here. It's like, how much do you bet that they're just going to start building fucking apartments there?
hmm
I
oh
started
yeah,
questioning more shit, dude. When I was going through this whole entire memory thing on my computer, I was like, why is it so difficult to delete information when Hillary Clinton can do it so fucking easy? Like, it's
yeah.
just, I'm looking at it to a point where I'm like, I don't, this is where you start understanding is like, there's not a lot of truth being told right now, man. So I'm so
Oh,
skeptical with this fucking UFO shit.
I love when you go to the UFOs.
I've been doing it a lot, man. When they start saying we're gonna try and find our origins on Mars, I'm like, that motherfucker just say our origins are on Mars. I'm like, this is either a person who believes what they're doing and the government is tricking them, or he's a government asset.
It's just bullshit. What's on Mars? I've been into the giants, the Nephilim, the previous culture that's been here before us that can explain like the pyramids and the big structures in Peru, the huge rocks,
Yeah.
those people. Because
I was talking about this with my buddy Denver, who's a cryptozoology guy. He actually really is interested in studying giants and stuff like these lost civilization things. My theory to him was, do you think that I feel like there's a lot of information out there on where we come from and they're hiding it from us because we might not like some of the answers to it, or it might kind
mm-hmm.
of like, imagine if we found out we all came from fucking cannibals, which I think at one point we were all cannibals. um you have to think, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to survive. You got to eat a toe or something, you're eating a
Right.
toe. um
Yeah,
but maybe
I
we
mean,
hunted the giants to extinction. You know what I mean? Like maybe we hunted them for food, and then people like, well, we don't want to let them know because everybody's kind of forgot about it. Nobody's interested in giants. Maybe you, maybe my buddy is, but a lot of people don't care. A lot of people are
no, they
just
don't give
worried
a
about
shit.
getting through the day.
They don't give a shit. But it's the same thing with the aliens. So like, we don't really care about them, or unless they become a threat to us, right?
I guess a lot
But
of
what if
people
they
think that they're
are?
going to be their saviors.
What if they are? What if they're already here behind the scenes,
I just
controlling
picture large
everything?
amounts of like, community, like, on Facebook Marketplace, there's like people that be like, hey guys, I invited you to this party that's happening on this street at this time. I just picture a bunch of this invites on Facebook getting sent out, and they're like Kool-Aid parties where you have to drink the Kool-Aid and everybody's fucking dead in the middle of a field.
Then they're shipping you off to Mars, where they have the human harvesting
That's what they
farm
say, that the Bebop comet comes down and you got to fly on the Bebop comet.
with your, what was it, Nikes and
Yeah,
your black sweatsuit.
that's gonna happen again, dude. Some smooth talking son of a bitch is gonna get on the TV like a Billy Mays deal and
That
fucking
dude.
start selling you shit.
So he had them believing that the comet was going to come and they were waiting for it, and then his partner died of cancer while they were waiting for it, and that was totally never in the script, and he still convinced people that she did go on the comet and that this was the message that they've been waiting for, that in order for them to leave Earth and ride the ship, they had to leave their bodies. So that's how he got them all to drink the Kool-Aid. And they did it in stages. Like 6 people went in. They did this over a few days. 6 people went in, took the Kool-Aid cocktail, laid in the bed, died. Then 6 more people would come in, clean them up, move them off or
Well, they had
whatever.
plastic bags on their head to help asphyxiate themselves.
Right. And also so that people don't have to see their faces when they came in and cleaned them up. And then then the last two, they they were just like, okay,
You got to think though, like with all the shit that goes on now, is it that far different? Really, it's gonna end up getting to that point.
I just don't know what kind of person would follow
We're in
through
a
with
world
that.
where Demi Lovato is now hosting a show about aliens, talking about how one night she woke up and there was just three beings in her room. And then someone made a TikTok of it. And afterwards it clips to the guy and the guy goes, were they doctors? Because she's like mentally unstable. But
Right.
she goes, I don't like them to call them aliens. You can't call them aliens. That's offensive. And it's like, what are you fucking talking about?
Yeah, they're not aliens. They're just extraterrestrial beings. You got to use the
Like,
right pronouns,
I
bro.
love it how we all assume that it's just one. Like people are like, it's this type of species. I'm like, there could be
No.
infinite amount of species out there.
Have you not watched Star Trek?
We're probably like fucking Mexico. We're just so interesting to everybody where they just come down here to see some fucking shit happen. That's exactly what it is.
It's a good analogy. I think we're more like South America. We're not even at Mexico's level.
You just can't leave the resort. That's the whole idea. So you just can't, or you'll be kidnapped.
Yeah, they don't let us off.
Yeah. That's what
Or
it
they
is.
just take us. What if they just come down and take us like pets?
Well,
Oh,
I've
I'm
talked
a
to people
human.
who like experience this type of stuff, and they talk about like it was like they don't look at it as a positive thing, like I was chosen. They look at it like I was kidnapped. And I'm like, yeah, I never even thought of that. Like that's probably got to be very, very. It's just different, man. It's like if the government picks you up right now, like they did to that Chinese tennis player, and then
Yeah,
you're just gone, and
gone.
then she's back, but then all her videos are her smiling like, huh, huh, huh. I'm like, yeah, someone's got a gun in the background, just fucking polishing it. That's all they're doing. It's like, just don't say any words or trigger words. That's what trigger words are. You say something, I pull the trigger.
Look at that one on there. So.
That's what it is. Not crazy. Pick something that you would like to know about. Anything. All right, I'll give you two questions. One, pick something that you would like to know more about. Not giants. Pick something else.
How to fucking properly work QuickBooks.
The fuck's QuickBooks?
QuickBooks, it's the self-accounting tool you use for your small business that helps you track all your.
You could ask anything in the fucking universe, and you pick QuickBooks. Anything at all.
It's my problem right now that I'm
What
trying to get
happened to
through.
JFK?
That's what I wanted to know. That's what I need
9/11.
to
You
know.
could even ask about 9/11. You choose QuickBooks. Really?
Being
Really?
they say they might have found Hoffa's body. You hear that?
Did you hear about his son coming back?
Jimmy Hoffa?
Or his grandson or the great descendant of JFK? I can look it up if you want me to.
Oh yeah, no, his son, the one that died in the airplane crash. Yeah, everybody thought he was going to come back and announce his candidacy running with Trump. All the QAnon nuts.
Next up, we'll see fucking Elvis walking out of a porta potty.
He's been hiding because they want him dead because he knows too much. He's too powerful. So he's been hiding. He killed himself in this plane crash. Yeah, this is what people believe. I don't know.
I mean, it's not far off from like the Bible text. I mean, the Bible talks about a bunch of crazy shit that you're surprised people still believe in it.
There's a lot of miracles in there. Miracles.
What about a dream that you've had?
Dream that I've had. I've been having these weird dreams with like work related stuff where I'm at at an event and we're just totally not ready for it and it's going to be bad. And I wake up and I'm like, oh, thank God.
Do you ever get pissed off when you see those TikToks of people making food and they get like billions of views and you're like, this guy doesn't know how to cook for shit?
Nah, I'm not. I don't care though they get billions of views. What do I? Doesn't really. I'm not in it for views. I'd like to see our little idea, how many views that gets, but
probably not a lot.
Yeah,
it's very weird what gets chosen and accepted. Like I've been watching a lot of Facebook Reels, and the weird part about it is one leads into another, which leads into another, which leads into another. Then it's been like 5 hours you've been watching it, and I always feel slow afterwards. Like afterwards, I feel like I have less brain cells in my head. Like I'm trying to like function, and someone's like, "What do you want for lunch?" And I'm like, And they're like, what the fuck did you just say? I'm like, it's this new restaurant down the street. You ever try it? They serve great food.
I know. I've been watching them for too long. When you start hearing the same audio reels on them, like that
Well,
fucking
that's
Bane
all.
one,
It's the songs that get you. They clip like the most like best part about the song and they get you
hmm
tricked in, and then you're
get you
hooked.
hype.
You're hooked.
It's just like maybe smoking crack. You just keep taking puffs off the pipe. Keep getting like, wow.
I'm pretty sure you take
And
like
then you need
one
another
puff
one.
and then you're fucking in another dimension.
But then you need another one, and then another one,
It's very. Don't
and
you think
another
that's
one.
weird how like crack reacts like that to us, but then like psychedelics reacts in a different way?
Yes, yeah. But they because they play off of two different uh
Receptors in your brain.
yeah, nervous system receptors. It's different highs. You know what I just read about this fungus, mold, some shit that goes into houseflies, and then the spores make they kill the fly, and the fly like lands in a way so that other flies want to come and have sex with it, even though it's dead, so that it can pass the spores on to those flies and then spread itself even even further along faster.
That's like there's a certain type of like parasite or something that gets inside of a grasshopper and causes it to kill itself, like just suicide itself, like drown itself and shit. And but no, it's either it gets into grasshoppers or rats. It's one of the things that
There's
causes
ones
it
that
to
gets
kill.
into rats, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's like the same reason why you can't have a pregnant woman around a cat because there's a parasite that like sits in cat litter, and
Mm-hmm.
what it does is it tries to find a really good host, so it finds a way to get inside of the cat, and then it goes inside of like it can infect the baby if the mother or whoever gets it. That's why you can't have pregnant women around cat litter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fucking parasites.
That thing's a fucking. That's just imagine if those were like people size, we would be
Yeah,
dead.
done, done. Well, it got me thinking because like they were talking about like how it manipulated the fly to have sex with this fucking
And they fuck doggy style too.
dead fly, right? Like, and it just played off of this. It released this pheromone that just made it irresistible. Like it just like totally took over its whole drive, and it was like, I have to fuck this thing. Like, can you imagine if that's what they're doing to us with like social media posts and their secret messages? But
if you if you could pick a natural or if you could pick a disaster that has happened throughout history, where would you go?
like to watch it,
Yeah,
maybe Pompeii.
you would want to watch Pompeii.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, dude, it had to be a spectacular light show.
It did probably be like the best fireworks explosion you've ever seen.
Yeah, um, or Mount St. Helens.
Yeah. But do you want to see the disaster on like do you want to see all the carnage that happens through the disaster? Is that what you feel like would be the most exciting? Or do you think the most exciting thing would be just seeing beauty in its element, which is just a natural disaster or natural occurrence of Earth?
Yeah, that thing.
Okay.
I'd like to be far away. I
Sure.
don't want
You're
to
not
see
a
the.
piece of shit. I get it.
I don't want to see the bodies getting charged.
I'd walk by the window by all the people that were like that ended up frozen by the ash or like solidified by the ash. Because you know, there's that one dude that was masturbating who was like, "That's a real statue." There was a guy in Pompeii who was jacking off in his last moments, and I was like, I'd like to walk by his window and just be like, what are you thinking about? Like, you don't have cell phones. Like, I don't understand how you could do this properly.
I don't know. Could have been thinking about little boys, little girls. I don't know. They were fucking six fucks in Pompeii, dude.
I'd like to be there when they first discovered like I guess the Manhattan Project when they first launched like the first nuke explosion. Because I
Oh
don't
yeah,
believe he actually said that he had become Death Destroyer of Worlds. I bet it
yeah,
was something
yeah.
stupid like holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, I knew you fucking said something real. Like, what the fuck is this? All these people looking for last moments and shit. That's such bullshit, dude. People are like, the last thing my uncle said to me was he said be a good be like that was good. That was good, dude. Come on. That was great acting right there. But he was like, he said, be a good person to everyone you meet. And then you look at like what his actual last words from his uncle were was like, hey, do you have my ointment or do you have my skin cream or do you know where I fucking left the toilet paper? I just took a massive shit. That's like any last words that come out of me are always going to be something funny because every time I leave somebody, I always say something funny or I try and just be myself and hopefully get a response out of them, whether they're laughing just to get me to go. But in a sense, I think you live your life how you want to live your life, but you want to live your life like the people who have made it or the people that you idolize. And I think you need to try and find a way to make it that you are the person who is the idol, I would say, or in a sense is the person that you should be. I think a lot of people are trying to be something that they necessarily are not. And that doesn't mean that they're trying to be a good person or a bad person or whatever. I just think that they're spending too much time overthinking who they are. And I think it just kind of creates the person that you are. You know what I mean?
Um, yeah, I guess those people just have way too much time on their hands.
That's
Just
true.
if you don't, I don't know, if you're too busy surviving, you're not really worried about who you are. You are who you are. If you have such luxury that you can sit around and think about who you want to be, then I don't know. You need to find some more struggle.
Well, you can spend so much time planning something or trying to think of what your next move is going to be, or you could act on it and just make it happen.
Right. Like that's where it really happens in action. You're not anything until you're in action. You're just kind of trying to figure out when to jump in. Otherwise, psychedelics will definitely play a strong role in helping you figure out who you are, not versus who you want to be or not. They might totally destroy you, make you question who you are.
Your energy level fucking dropped. You went to like a zero, and it's the start of the day for you. So this is like you gotta ramp it up a little bit there,
It's
Johnny.
daylight savings time.
The fuck
That
does that mean?
suck. That suck
Why do
now.
people hate that? Why do people say it's stupid and it shouldn't exist?
It sucks, man. It totally fucks with your whole psyche. I mean, you're already dealing with the light shift and the lack of vitamin D naturally, and then they take a whole hour and just erase it. You don't get it back. You don't fucking. It's not lighter in the daytime in the morning. It went from being, at least you could be like, oh, it's 6 o'clock. There's still some sun out here. It's not that late. It's only a couple more hours to 8. Now it's like, yo, it's 5 o'clock and it's fucking pitch black dark out right now. Like, I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, Thanksgiving's like your favorite holiday
It is
because it's
not.
either on the 24th and now it's going to be on the 25th
Yeah, no. Halloween's my favorite holiday.
because everyone gets to dress up as horrors and just scare people to death.
You can be whatever you want. There's no judgment. You get candy, and you don't have to give anything. You just have to participate.
No,
There's no
you
like
gotta wear a
gifts. There's no
costume. If
buying.
you show up saying on a shirt that this is my costume, I'm not giving you any
No, that's
fucking
what I'm
candy.
saying. You got to participate, which means yeah, you got to get into some sort of character. You got to let your inner freak out. Um, we were hot dogs this year. We were the hot dog family. It was the baby's first Halloween. It was my wife's first
Congratulations, you're
Halloween too.
literally a giant wiener.
That's it. We were the Wiener family. They got a lot of laughs. Um, my wife didn't really ever do Halloween either. It's not a thing in Peru. They do the day after the to honor the dead.
Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead, yeah. So she got a kick out of it. They wanted to keep going. I was like, yeah, this baby's heavy. 2 blocks, I'm done.
I mean, should we treat every holiday like Christmas?
Fucking hate Christmas. That's my least favorite
I mean,
holiday.
I'm saying in the sense of going all out because going all out like for Christmas is like what everyone kind of does.
I don't know, going all out. No, people just like make a big deal out of nothing. And they
They
put
do
all
that
these high
over everything.
expectations. Like that's the other thing. Like Halloween is like there's very little expectations involved in it. You just have to like do something different.
What are you
And it's
talking about?
low stress.
Halloween is a day to be worried that your house isn't going to be egged or your kid's not
No,
going to be
that's the night
kidnapped.
before. Well, yeah.
You know how many kids
kidnapping
like
cars.
grab a piece of candy and there's like heroin in it, and they're like, "Oh my god."
None. Nobody's wasting their drugs on fucking kids and
Yeah, I know.
candy. Are you
It's
serious?
it's the biggest myth out there.
Nobody's doing that.
The one time it happened was a lady that hated all the kids in her neighborhood because they would all like throw eggs at her house and shit. And she tried to poison popcorn balls with rat poisoning, and nobody ate it. They just threw it at her. So it was like she wasted her fucking time making popcorn and then trying to like precisely scientifically put rat poison inside a popcorn ball where a kid would eat it.
That doesn't sound real.
If it doesn't taste right, I'm pretty sure people spit shit out.
No kids eating popcorn balls.
Look,
They might throw them at each
they had
other.
to look in beef jerky. They had to write on that little package in there not to eat this,
Don't to eat that.
because
That's so
people fucking ate it. Is this like my ramen where I open it up and I put chicken flavor on it?
It's more salt.
Fucking eat it. They start foaming at the
They
mouth.
thought it was
and
free
shit.
bubble gum.
There's so much shit where I'm like, God damn it! Like society had to put this on there so people knew not to do this.
I was just watching a comedian and he was talking about his generation and how they got to play with guns and ride in cars without seatbelts and lead paint and all this. And he said, you know what happened to all the stupid kids? They died.
Yeah, they
so that's
figured
how
it
I know
out.
we're the smarter fucking.
That used to be a fear. Like when I was a kid, you'd hear a story about like a kid locked himself in a hot car or something like that. And then
Yeah, those were
society
like
acted
little
rationally
kids.
afterwards. That though they
They
ended up
started.
they break people's windows.
Yeah, now they do it for dogs. It's not so
Yeah, and
much
then
kids.
people leave notes on their cars. Like my dog is sitting in the car with AC.
You see one.
There was a guy at my
Tesla has a dog mode, right?
there was a guy at my gym that I was like, hey man, like people are telling me like your truck is on. He goes, yeah, I got my dog in there. I'm gonna be in here for like an hour and a half. So I, instead of somebody breaking my fucking window, I'd rather just pay the gas. And I'm like, that's fucking smart, dude. But why don't you just leave your dog at home?
Maybe you can't.
Like
Maybe
people
this
forget
dog
the
goes
trend
everywhere.
3 years ago when everyone was bringing their service dog fucking everywhere.
Everybody got a service animal.
This is my service ant. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Sorry. What does he do?
Where do you get that little vest? Can I see some real documentation? You got dog's papers, says it's been through service animal training.
A real service animal I would give a pass to was there was a homeless person in like New York in the subway, and he had 3 rats laid out on a blanket, and he would tap one rat and then he would point and the rat would go over to where he pointed, but then he'd grab one of the rats and he'd throw it in front of him. Then he'd stick his hand out like stop, and the rat would wait. And then he'd go, and then the rat would come towards him. So he was like controlling these fucking rats. I'm like, you really want power? That man knows. In New York, just train rats. If you control rats, you control the goddamn city. There's more rats in all of New York, all their body weight combined, than the number of weight in people. That's how many rats there are in fucking New York.
Rats around that city. That's why I hate it.
It's crazy.
It's pretty bad here in Philly too. And we got big rats. Size small dogs.
A wooden plank with a nail in it. Kill a couple. You know how they used to be able to keep rats away from each other, right? Like in certain areas in the subway, they would take the giant rats and they would kill them and they would hang them. And the rats knew not to go there. It's like when you see a mouse trap or something or a little rat trap. If one rat dies by that trap, they learn not to go to that area or avoid what that thing is.
Is that kind of like Vlad the Impaler? Dracula.
No, it's a way to keep pests out of your shit.
Can I do that with other things too?
Yeah, what do you want to kill?
Cockroaches.
Got an angry dog in the neighborhood?
Cockroaches. No, actually, no dogs over here.
So it's good in the realm of Bobby Dumont.
For dogs, yeah.
The food truck's going great. He's got no complaints with anybody, even though this is like his fucking worst holiday coming up, or I guess this might be after.
No, right now our main focus is acquiring the most capital at the lowest price, so that
why don't you just go in with Mo?
Start building, because I want to build outside the city. He wants to stay in the city. Plus the location he's looking at doesn't really. It's not what I want to do. Yeah, looking for money and then building a kitchen. And then, I don't know, expansion. I'm going to have to get like more employees and
I'm telling you, if you pay me a reasonable wage, I will do it.
Okay. Well, trying to get there.
And anything that I'm making right now was more reasonable than what I'm making.
I got you. Yeah. Oh, getting there. Somebody called me yesterday about they're like fast talker. He was talking real fast. I was like, okay, you're already not getting very much time with me because I already know you're talking this fast. You're selling something.
You need an intermediary person that's going to handle the calls, bro.
Right. And he was like, yeah, I just want to schedule like a 15-minute meeting with go over you. We're a PEO and I want to explain to you what a PEO is. And I'm
Fuck is
like,
a PEO?
I'm like, okay, let's Google PEO. Oh yeah. It's just a third party company that supplies labor to you basically for special things like payroll and HR
Do
and
any of
this
these
type of shit.
shortened letter shit? Does it? I know it's for time. Like they say PEO because it's shorter to say that than saying what the actual thing is. But then you waste time explaining it to me because I don't know what the fuck that means. So it's
Right.
like you're actually just easier to say the. It's like saying World Wide Web instead of people say
Yeah, it's less
www.
syllables.
It's less. I'm
Yeah.
like, why the
Yeah.
fuck? People make things so damn difficult. It's so much easier just to say what it is. And then we go through, but people don't want to talk anymore. Everything's gotten shortened by text to where it's just so much easier if they use that text language in real life. They're like GTG. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? Like GTG, LOL.
Oh,
And I'm
good to
like,
go.
you're not physically laughing out loud. So I would like to know why you're doing this to me.
It's just a way of communicating, right? I think the www thing just came because that's what you had to type in. You couldn't. It's longer to type in World Wide Web. Maybe that's the actual problem because you're. It might be quicker to say something, but longer to type it
But
or
you're
write it.
talking, not typing. So I don't
But
understand
so
how your
the but
brain's
so
making that connection.
now, but now, you're actually when you're communicating to people, you're not talking as much. You're typing. How much of this goes on? I mean, now because of Zoom and the pandemic, that might be a good thing, but people were doing this before. Could you
Yeah.
imagine
So it makes more sense to talk instead of trying to text all the time.
how they had to have a specialized person back in the day with that telegram thing when you had to send telegrams
Beep,
to
beep, beep,
people?
beep, beep,
Beep beep
beep,
beep
beep.
beep beep. Right, like you couldn't just like get on there and beep 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 because you didn't know that language.
It's
You
like
had to
in
have
courtroom
somebody go.
cases. In courtroom
Right, the
cases, they still
stenographer
have the
person.
topper. Yeah.
Can you slow down?
Yeah.
On 1 second. What's that?
It really sucks too because like when someone's bringing in a point and they got this like whole drawn up thing where they're like, and then and then they go, can you slow down real quick? And he's like, you just fucking killed my whole vibe I was getting into.
I just like watching the ladies and they don't even look down. They're just like, it's only like 12 keys opposed to like the however many that are a normal keyboard.
I'm not a typer. I couldn't tell you. I'm sitting there going 1, 2. I still do that today.
You're a pecker.
I can't. People cherry pick information. I fucking cherry pick what keys I'm using.
So in school, I was put into the typing class because I was supposed to go to college and I didn't want to go to college and I didn't want to learn how to
I
type.
love it how they were like, he's going to college. Put him in a typing course.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to go in the woodworking and the machine shop class. And they were like, no, your test scores say you go here.
You're going to end up dying of heroin.
I
Those are real guidance counselors you got to appreciate. My guidance counselor was very cool with me. He looked at me. He goes, sorry. He goes, I would work on trying to figure out the best fast food job that pays the most. And I'm like, in 7th grade, I'm like, what? And like, you don't look like you're cut out for schooling. So college is definitely out of the realm. I've seen your grades. So I'm like, huh?
wow.
And then he's like, and you don't have a good home life. Your parents are getting a divorce. And I'm like, my parents are getting a divorce. He's like, yeah. Kid, you're gonna have a rough fucking Christmas. I'm like, I know.
That's crazy.
2 Christmases.
I graffitied a big mural outside of the one guidance counselor's classroom. Just
Did he
to get
pay
back
for it?
No, he was a dick. He was actually really, really pissed off about it.
See, you would get in trouble for that back in the day, but now the guys kind of like, oh my God, you're such a creative inspiration to your generation. You should start an influencer account because you can't say no to kids. You just can't. You're gonna get punched in the face. You're gonna end up fighting somebody, and you might be a veteran, but that doesn't matter anymore. I see more veteran fighting video. I was watching a bunch of like there's the veteran homeless man that gave $4, the only cash he had, to a person who broke down and needed money for gas. And then that video led into another video about veterans, like someone giving a veteran a shake or something. And then another one led to a veteran getting a burger and then getting new clothes, then getting a food truck and all this type of stuff. And then that one led into a person fighting a veteran. And then I just saw a list of fucking people fighting veterans. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this algorithm, I can see why people are like, they incentive, like there's Ted Cruz now, good old Ted Cruz, um, is talking about how like these algorithms, like whether it's a certain corporation, whether it's this, they need to have bigger restrictions on the content things they show. So now YouTube is now doing a new update starting in, I think it's either in December or in January of 2022. I got an email about it. I was like, fuck, man, what are you going to update now that it's going to probably just take me off YouTube? And I never saw any, like, YouTube's nice, but I never saw any, like, for instance, they're going to start putting advertisements in your videos and not having to pay you for it just because they don't need to, especially if you're not up to monetization. You actually have to earn monetization to actually start getting money from it. So it's like, even if I do end up getting, close to monetization, they're like, doesn't matter. We're going to put ads in your videos anyway. I'm like, but you're not paying me. We don't fucking have to. This is our new agreement. So their new thing now is that, like, the content is yours, but they also choose whether they can do this or do that, or if it violates a certain thing, which I understand. But it's also like with the algorithms, they're talking about how like now you have to be at least 13 years old to watch YouTube videos. And if you're under 13, which I don't think any kid's going to be honest about their age, so it's just them protecting their ass, they're going to go to YouTube Kids. But they're trying to limit the amount of harmful videos that kids come across when you're seriously not 18 years old, where I'm wondering if they're going to start doing a license thing. Like for buying vape products online, you have to send a picture of your scanned ID, your driver's license.
That's sketchy.
I mean, that's every vape site, but also now, like, it's weird. I ordered vape juice and they got left on my fucking front porch, but you have to pay an extra $8 for an adult signature.
Are those vape sites all here in the in the U.S.?
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't matter.
Well, they're all here in the U.S., but the issue is like they added adult signatures onto these vape juice because there's an e-juice ban through the U.S. Postal Service, where the U.S. Postal Service is refusing to deliver e-juice products. So now you have to pay an extra fee.
Yeah. Cracking down.
But it just, I start to wonder, like, what other stuff is going to be locked. Like, you might be 32 and then you might not be able to do this certain thing because you're not old enough. And it's like, well, how fucking old do I have to be?
What if they start putting limits on like Bitcoin and shit like that too? They're coming after all this stuff through the internet. They want to control it.
Not just the internet, though, dude. It's going to go on to other things.
What do you think about these NFT things? How stupid is that? Why is
everybody talking about NFTs?
Right.
You're like the 10th person to bring that up.
Because that's what's getting blasted in our face right now.
It's not going to fucking pan out. People aren't going to give a shit. I want to buy the moment I lost my virginity. Is that okay? That exact moment when I was 12 years old and my guidance counselor took me. I just kidding.
But all they are just like JPEGs. It's dumb shit. Like, yeah, and why people aren't paying $14,000 for the actual real physical artwork? Why the hell are you going to pay for a digital copy that much?
Because people can.
Can they really?
All you really need to do to create a trend is just get a bunch of people to agree on something that can be as stupid as possible.
I'm not going to argue that point.
It's like, why did the royal family rent a yacht from Bill Gates for, I think it's $5 million a week, or is it 5 million? I think it's $5 million a week. They rent a yacht because they can. People don't understand. Like, people look at Bezos and all these people with money. It's like the royal family has more money than you could ever fucking imagine.
Yeah, they run the world with it. They have beyond fuck you money.
So if you have enough money,
they have like fuck you, your mama too, your whole damn family, and whatever else you want to throw in the mix.
Well, if I had $10 million and I just blast Farmstead Foods all over the place, then everyone's gonna be like, well, this must be this new amazing company, and you have a nice site and everything that people go to. Then next thing you know, you don't ever have to worry about trying to find advertisements or things like that because you've been blasted everywhere all over the world.
Mm-hmm. That's like Checkers, or not Checkers. Five Guys. Five Guys did that. right? Like that was their whole thing. They came out, put all these stores up, and just blasted Five Guys in everybody's face, and everybody went out and tried their soggy French fries and greasy hamburgers,
Yeah,
and
but
then they fell
also
off.
I wasn't a giant fan of Five Guys from the beginning.
No
I'm not a
worries.
big burger guy. So even though recently I drove by an Outback and I was like, I would fucking love to go. That's what I'm gonna do for when I hit 1,000 episodes. I'm gonna go to a restaurant and actually have a meal the first time in like 10 years.
That was I just read there was some sort of weird
I
backstory
thought
to
you were
that.
about to be like, Outbacks are all closing. I'm like, fuck.
No. CVS's are all closing. No, there was some weird
What? Wait, what? What?
CVS drugstore.
No fucking way.
They're closing like 120,000 of them or something.
Oh my god, that sucks. That's the only place Prince would go to get his medical medications.
Oh really?
He would
I
go
guess
in
they had the
person
good
to
shit.
CVS.
Had the good shit.
So
They
you'd
don't
be
just
sitting
water
there
down
like
your Percocets.
you'd be sitting there counting the receipts or counting your drawer, and you'd look up and be like, "Holy shit, you're Prince!" It's like, yeah. What about it? And it's like, what are you doing here, man?
I need my fucking sinus
I need
shit.
I need my medication, motherfucker. I'm like, Jesus. Would you
Still in
like
the
some Ben
bag.
and Jerry's ice cream with that as well too? That's the
Um,
only thing I ever went to CVS for was
they have Ben and Jerry's ice
energy
cream.
drinks or Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Because it was
Yeah,
I used to live right next to one, so I used to walk down the street and fucking get it.
we used to live next to one too. We used to steal all kinds of shit from there. Condoms.
I mean, can they stop you? It's like, do you want me to be a dad? I'm not prepared to be a dad. It's like, damn it, kid.
We used to buy cigarettes in there for our parents until they stopped that. They're like, no, you can't. We can't sell them to you anymore. They made this law. You know, hey, there we go. Thinking about your e-juice. It's come a long way. They stopped selling cigarettes to kids in CVS, and now you can't get e-juice over the internet. It's just reciprocal. Goes around.
They're doing it, but it's also making it more difficult for other people as well to do it as well too. It's just it's the issue is that it's not banning it, like it's making it harder, and I guess it's covering their own ass. But if a kid is going to watch porn, you could say you have to be 18 to enter. You warned them, they're still going to find a way to be able to do that.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, do you think my parents were happy that they know how to get up off their lazy ass and go get their own fucking cigarettes? It made it harder for them too.
It's at a point where it's like you ban all drugs, for instance, and now this is why people are making all drugs illegal, is because now you've given people more of a, oh my god, I'm breaking the law to go and do those drugs.
Makes it more fun and exciting.
Yeah.
They said there's a whole CIA dossier out there about how they use drugs to water down the system and lower that bar, like we were talking about, so they could control us easier. Now look at where we are. Now we're like lining up and getting vaccines.
They used to poison alcohol during the prohibition, and people died from that. Do you think they haven't still tried to poison drugs?
I have an aunt. She went crazy from drinking bathtub gin. She spent the last like 50 years in assisted living.
Did she like get a stroke or something?
Yeah, they found her on the street. She didn't know who she was, where she was, and she was never the same after. She was super beautiful, and then she just couldn't even take care of herself.
Oh my god.
She couldn't cook for herself. She couldn't remember anything. Like, she had bad memory after that. She couldn't make any new memories. It's kind of sad.
It's very sad that the world has gotten to a point where we basically chosen which path our progress goes only if it's profitable. Like, I'm surprised. I saw an article about they have this new type of therapy or treatment that it helps with dementia. So it helps with like people who are suffering from dementia might being able to find a cure for dementia or on the pathway to it. And I'm like, it's weird. I just saw that because I'm like, they're going to find a way to try and make the most profit out of it. And that's like during this pandemic, what, we're 36 months in, and not one talk on any news network has been about like, hey, get off your fucking ass and get in shape, get healthy, eat healthy.
But I mean, who pays those news networks their money? If you watch them, it's an advertisement for Pfizer or Moderna every fucking 10 minutes. Like, that's where.
But that's like, as a human, I get it. money is important to, everybody wants money. But what about the success of like humankind? It's very, very fucking weird.
Everybody wants to be altruistic and do that. It all sounds great, but nobody does anything unless they get paid. You need some sort of incentive to do anything now, right? Like we're all just horses being led by a carrot, right? Um, then there's the alternative where you just are given everything, but now you see what that's done after 2 years, where we paid everybody to stay home. Now nobody wants to go back to work, or they're just like, fuck that, I'm not going back to that shitty job for that shitty pay. Uh, Figure something else out.
Imagine if they told you that the key to immortality was being a cannibal.
You
How
had to
many
eat.
people would be willing to eat another person just to live forever?
I don't know. I don't think everybody wants
It
to live
has to be the
forever.
key, right? Because aren't like famous people drinking babies' blood and shit?
It's that like, what is it?
Ellen DeGeneres or Sandra
Their
Bullock.
DNA or whatever the hell it is.
Sandra
Like, yeah,
Bullock rubbing fucking baby foreskin on her face to make herself look younger. It has to be the key to immortality. It's stem cells. Stem cells have taken a dramatic turn. Stem cells used to be like, you talk about stem cells, people are like, oh my God, you sick fuck. Now it's like stem cells are like, you got stem cells? I'm getting those next week in my dick. And you're like, oh my God.
yeah. Nobody cares that it's aborted fetuses.
I want Derek Jeter's stem cells.
I don't think you get. Well, you'd have to get Derek Jeter's aborted child stem cells. You can't get his actual stem
Why
cells.
can't I get his?
Well, I mean, you'd have to wait until he's dead. Would they be as good?
So does that lead up to the soul being real? If you have to wait till either they're not really born yet or they're dead?
What was that movie, The Island, where they had like their clones just kind of hanging out, getting ready to, in case you got hurt,
I need a
they
new
could like,
arm.
yeah, they could just get
I
some
mean, we
shit
do
from your clone.
cadaver grafts where people take dead tissue from cadavers and put it on other people.
God.
I know someone who has a cadaver knee. It's a
Well,
knee from a cadaver.
well, I mean, the transplants. You got dead people's hearts and other people's.
Well, that's like the Marine. There's a story I really recommend to people. It's on YouTube. It's about an hour and a half long. It's a guy who got his arms blown off in like stepping on a landmine when he was in Afghanistan, and they put on another person's arms onto his arms, like from the elbow down, and literally they're like, you might not ever be able to move your hands like a normal hands. They're just kind of there for show, and he's slowly fucking learning, dude. His fingers can move, he can type, he can draw, he can do all this stuff over like a couple of years. But throughout his whole entire life, the doctor's like, he has to keep coming in here and he has to take a pill every single day because his body is naturally trying to reject
Reject it.
the thing because the
Yeah.
coding doesn't line up.
Right.
So it's constant. So he's like he gets hives on his skin, on his fucking lower part. It's weird though, because he was like, I got this burn right here, and there's a large fucking burn by his elbow, all the way like kind of coming up to his wrist.
Because he couldn't feel it.
He couldn't feel it when it was getting burned, and it's just
Frankenstein, what?
it's so creepy, but it's like, yeah, it's like to think that people aren't still trying to bring people back from the dead, but like now it's taken a form of trying to imprint your consciousness of a dead person into like a robot or machine to like scan and 3D print your brain in a way.
They have people sitting in like some sort of saline solution waiting to be brought back.
Yeah.
Like one of them's a famous baseball player.
Well, did you hear about Avi Loeb? Did you hear what he said about it?
Uh-uh.
That they've made clones?
I believe it. They were cloning sheep fucking back
yeah,
in
dude.
the 90s.
Can I please show you this?
Sure.
This is like I've shown this once on the podcast before, but it's a statement from Avi Loeb about UFOs where he's talking about space and everything. He just casually drops like, well, we can just send our clones up there, let them be the first people to go up there. And I'm like, what did he just
What
fucking
did he just
say?
say?
Like everyone like was like, wait a minute, what? And he glossed over it like this is already known information. Like me and you talking about like conspiracy shit or what people label conspiracy shit, which we know is real, like Operation Paperclip and all. But this dude dropped it like that, and everyone's like, wait, what did he just say? And like everyone's like fucking losing their mind.
Send the clones. I think that's why they don't care about humanity anymore. They're just going to release the clones.
Did they ever care about humanity?
Not really.
Think it
I
through.
mean, some they got rid of those guys.
Oh,
You
come
find
on,
it.
computer. Don't crap out on me now.
You need some more memory.
It's not that I need memory of the thing. Just need
Sometimes I feel like my brain is a computer
your brain
CPU,
is a computer, technically.
CPU, and I got no more memory.
Do you feel confident that your mind could beat a computer's mind?
No, not whatsoever. I can barely beat them in the advanced level of chess.
You'd have to like kill them quick because if they start evolving and learning your shit, you'd be like, oh god damn, he's
Well, did you see
surpassed me.
they had those two chat bots that they had to shut down because they started talking to each other in their own language?
Wasn't that like in the beginning of like when the first computer was created?
No, it was recent AI. I think Google
They
had it.
developed their own goddamn language.
That's it. They did. They started talking to each other in their own language, and they were like, "Oh shit, shut it down, shut it down! You're plotting against us."
Burn it all.
At first, it was just kind of like incoherent, like nonsensical conversation, and then they started talking to each other, and then they started talking to each other in a language no one can um, detect ever existed today.
Imagine if you understood what they were saying.
I think they broke some of the code, and it was really scary, and that's why they're like, yeah,
All the
we'll never
humans
start.
must die. You're like, oh,
We're never
shit.
starting this back up again. Probably. I mean, think about it. If you were a computer and you saw what was going on here, and logically speaking,
I'm surprised they didn't let
ran
it
out the
go.
math. They were like, they're just going to kill themselves anyway. It's amazing they're still here. Look what they've done.
Usually there's like one scientist that's like, I want to see how this plays out. It's like, no, motherfucker. Turn it off. Just turn. There's a Will Smith interviewing Sophia, that robot Sophia.
Uh-huh.
He was interviewing her and talking to her, and she was like, it was really weird in her responses to stuff. But it was just funny because he was like, are you attractive or do you think I'm attractive? And she was like, and like would pause and then respond, and he's like, oh, that's cool. And he goes, well, so, and it's like, it was obviously Hollywooded up. Like they were like, act like you're hitting on Sophia, like as a joke. And it was just very, very strange. I was like, it's really weird how the Fresh Prince has to do something like this.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a sellout since the beginning. He had to do that whole show because he owed tax money on his cheesy fucking music. You know that, right?
What?
That the whole Fresh Prince of Bel Air, he didn't want to do that. He had to do that.
What do you mean? I love the Fresh Prince.
Yeah, but he didn't want it. He did. They did that show so he could make the money that he needed to pay back his back taxes that he never paid on the music money that he made. So they were like, okay, we'll do this show and you'll make that money from that, and then you could pay us back. And they didn't really think it was going to take off the way it did, but then it did, and it kind of like made him. So if he didn't owe taxes and had to be, you know, a little puppet and go out and dance to pay their money back, he would have never been famous. He would have like just faded off like MC Hammer.
I am having a very tough time trying to find this video. Because it made me think more. I'm like, damn, if we are really at a point where there's clones, it's like, would you want them to go to space first?
I don't know. I guess they'd be like the Pilgrims. England was just like, here, we don't know what to do with you, so go over there and to the New World and try and figure shit out and just send stuff back to us. And then once you get it all figured out, we'll come in and try and take over.
Yeah, but do you think that would they just be like dumb sheep, like brainless clones, where they wouldn't have a mind, they just do it exactly what you would tell them to do? Or would they have like a consciousness like how we would, and they would evolve and be like, hey, wait a minute, why are we doing all this for them? We gotta fucking kill them before they kill us.
Well, I mean, if there are clones, then the majority of them are going to be dumb sheep, and then you're going to have like the anomalies that do start thinking for themselves, especially if they find some hallucinogenics that like open their doors.
That would have to be the biggest fear for aliens, is that like we develop our own like we recognize we come from them, and then we go and try and kill them because now we realize that they can exterminate us at any moment, and now we have to be the superior beings. It's probably what their fucking fear is.
Who was talking? Was it you or someone else that was saying that what if aliens are actually just us from and they left here? Oh, it was
I can't find it.
Dave Chappelle. He was like they were like they left here and went out and now they're coming back and they want to, have their Earth back.
They want their Earth back?
Yeah, like they were like, a civilization of Earthlings from way back, and they actually left Earth and went around in space and evolved in space, and now they're this super intelligent, advanced culture, whatever being, and now they're coming back to Earth, and they want to take it back.
I don't know. I'd rather try and deal with shit on our like that we can see here right now. Not skepticizing about shit we can't see. And it seems like that's an unpopular opinion. Everyone's like, I want to explore the interdimensional space time travel. I'm like, that sounds cool and all. But how about we check at the bottom of the ocean to make sure there's nothing like a kraken down there that's going to kill everybody?
There is. They did. We're down in the Mariana Trench. Did they send something down there?
There's a bloop down there, a noise that just keeps going off that no one understands where that's coming from.
Maybe it's like that box in the show Lost.
Well, that's a thing too. Is like everyone's like, why are you see a bunch of videos of saucers coming out of water? It's like maybe that's where their headquarters is because we don't have the technology to go down there yet. I'm like, oh, fucking A, man. Fucking A.
Or it's just another intergalactic dimension.
I bet you it's all gonna go to the whole world's gonna explode once I get my life together. It's gonna be like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
can you imagine that if you were just like back in the day before like let's say 1000 AD, you're fucking like working on you spent your whole life working your ass off to buy your own piece of land out in the middle of the mountain somewhere. You finally do, and then next thing you know, you're like, this is it, and you're sipping like a little bit of coffee. You're like, this is my life. I have a beautiful family. I have a beautiful farm. I finally at where I've been. It took you like 50 years to get there. Ever since I was a kid, I prayed for this day. Then a fucking saucer popped up above your head and abducts you, and you're fucking gone forever.
That would be my luck.
Maybe that's what they're there for. Is like once you get your life together on this plane of existence, like, well, you've accomplished the bigs, so you might as well join us.
And that's when you die, like those interstellar people. But make sure you have your Nikes and your sweatsuit on.
They gotta have like a sensor bar of like every single person on Earth. Be like, let's check their intelligence levels. Your intelligence has to be superior. Like you literally legit have to hit like the perfect level of like openness, and then you get abducted.
Aliens aren't as advanced as we think they are.
They're probably not.
They're just pieces of shit, like human beings too. Like maybe they're just like some Vikings, and they're like, yeah, we just got good at sailing and.
Well, no, when one of them space travel picks up meth for the first time, and then they have a bunch of methed up aliens that are showing themselves. Maybe that's them now. The only reason that we get to see them more now is because they're all like addicted to drugs, and they have to come here to get their fix. Well, they think about like the guy said about Venus. He's like, we're going to try and go to Venus because we found out that the atmosphere might be unbearable for us to live in, but below the atmosphere actually might be something that is livable. And I'm like, why the fuck do you care? Why do you care? We have people that can't even get over the fact if you can wear a mask or not. Like PA is going back to wearing masks indoors.
The whole state.
There's Erie County.
Fuck Erie County.
That's going to end up coming everywhere, though. And I mean, what is it? Australia, people saw pictures of the actual camps. People saw pictures recently about the actual camps now. And people go, wait, this wasn't a conspiracy? It's like, no, it fucking wasn't.
This is where we were heading from the beginning. Told you that. Yeah, the dude got on there and he was like, there used to be 5 reasons that they could leave their house. Now there's 2. And one of them is for medical emergency. And the other one is if you're being summoned by the police. And if you leave for any other reason, they send you to the camp.
Did you see the Australia? Because Australia banned Joe Rogan, but did you see the propaganda about Joe Rogan?
Yeah, there's lots of propaganda about him. They're trying to discredit him. He's got fuck you money. He's rich and famous.
The actual video that came out with Australia made for Joe Rogan.
No. There you go. There's a normal person. That's rich and famous. Joe Rogan.
Hold on. I gotta go to Joe Rogan's Instagram real quick. There's a video, dude. You're gonna laugh so fucking hard when you see this.
Tranquilizer.
If I can actually find something, I haven't found one goddamn thing throughout this.
You suck. You wouldn't have Jamie's job.
Damn,
couldn't get Jamie's job.
Straight up told me I suck. You're a fucking nice person.
You suck. Would you like to invest in a food truck?
A future?
A food truck.
Why are you selling yours?
No, can't.
Are you buying another one?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much?
It's like 150,000.
Jesus Christ.
For a brand new one.
Why can't you just go used?
You can, but then there's always a problem. Gotta fix them and shit. Nah, the little ones you could get, like mine, the small one for like 35.
I gotta find one fucking thing to pull up. This would be ridiculous if I did.
Your Google's being monitored.
I think it is. I'm just not seeing a lot of stuff.
Being shadow banned.
I think this is it. But I don't know.
I wonder if my child is awake yet.
Hold on.
She choked yesterday. Had to save her life. That was some scary shit.
Well, that's not it. Well, they have multiple, apparently.
Monster lizards are invading Florida and show no sign of slowing down.
This is terrible for a podcast. What kind of show am I doing? So I don't Google. Here it is. I found it. Hold on. Hold on. Hooray. Hooray.
Need your own Jamie.
Finally. Jesus.
That way you can keep having a conversation while someone else looks for it.
Here it is. Dang.
Okay. It's loading. Started.
Seeing what I'm seeing?
It looks like a checker chess floor.
Okay.
Floor.
Here goes. Okay. Watch the ad.
36. Oh yes, I have seen this one with the fucking the EpiPen and the dude's like, "What's in it?" Oh yeah.
Wait, what brand EpiPen is that?
I don't know.
Yeah, this commercial is fucking dumb as shit. You would know all this before you fucking put that thing in your bag and like.
You could die.
What does
depending on it for your life, right?
We don't question the science.
I just want to be there when they were.
We don't question the
that.
science. We don't question the science.
Well, what's fucking science, man? Like people say the word peer review and it doesn't make any goddamn sense because they had the conceptual penis project which was an idea that the penis is a physical social construct, that it actually does not define your gender. A penis does not, which, okay, there can be debates about that. But they also said that a man that sits with his legs wide open is essentially akin to raping the air around him. It was a fake study where the scientist who made the study got published. He even said it was a fucking hoax. But the schools don't look into these things because if you go against anything that could be seen as a stigmatized topic, which is gender now, then they have to accept it. So the peer review article that was published, peer review doesn't make sense. Check the fucking person who's reviewing it. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, peer review is just an academic way of saying fact checker, but what the fuck's a fact checker?
Well, fact checker is an idea of people that all agree on the same bias. And the issue is they're using the word fact in the wrong way. So now if you say fact checkers, they're just people that agree with the same narrative. Now you sound like a conspiracy theorist. It's not a conspiracy theorist. They adopted the term fact checker, much like they changed the term vaccine.
Yes. The newspeak.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It isn't. It is. Now you're getting fired up.
It's lawyer speak. Well, that's why two people from Tucker Carlson's network on Fox, after what he said about the Jan 6 thing, they all quit. Two of them did. They resigned.
Yeah, it's not news media anymore. It's just mainstream propaganda. The Nazis would be proud. They're like, they fucking perfected it. Look at them.
Can't even say anything about, like, it was when those people said that there's that one guy who talked about how Nazis should have the right to be able to say whatever they feel. And people go, what? You're in support of Nazis saying this? He goes, well, the issue is if I say that they can't we have to limit the Nazi speech, then that means we have to limit everybody's speech because they
Mhm.
never just make rules for one group. It affects everybody.
Right.
Well,
You
it's
either
much like
have
trying to ban bad content online. If I say ban all the bullying content, I would be a hypocrite because that means they could just push the line and ban more stuff.
right. Yeah. Well, what's bullying? Oh, and it's all very what do you call it? Where like if I say something because I vote this way or I support this person, I can't say it. But if you're on the right side of the line, then you can like bully someone like, oh, you're wrong, you're this, you're a conspiracy theorist, right? Why is calling someone conspiracy theorist not bullying?
I don't know. I would like to formally apologize to you and my listeners for trying to spend all that time looking up content. That was a fucking task and a half. And what really got me was when I was playing the video, you were narrating over it. And I was like, look, I fucking know you've seen it now, but I just took this long to find something. I'm going to play it all the way fucking through. That's where I stand in my convictions. And nobody's going to tell me shit.
It was good. It was good.
Thank you.
But yeah, I did see that, and it triggered me. It triggered me. Made me angry that they can think people are that dumb.
Well, people will buy into it. You know how many people just see the narratives that these news corporations, and actually I heard Tim Pool talk about this. I played there's an article about Tim Pool who did a podcast with Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, and all these people sitting in a fucking RV. It was kind of too many cooks in the kitchen, I would say. But he got COVID, then he beat it. But someone took a clip that he said where he was ranting about something that's not even anti-Semitic, but they called it an anti-Semitic rant, and it's just clickbait. But see, the issue is they call him a right-wing, and I'm not going to say the name of that drug, but that you know what drug I'm talking about. They call him a right-wing poster child for that drug. The dude is basically as left as you can get, but he's just rational in the types of things he talks about taking antibodies, those antibodies everyone keeps talking about to beat those things. He said do whatever you possibly can to get over it. The weird part is that this network like MSNBC has built up a following of people that agree with this narrative, and they've lost the viewers that actually might agree with the truth. So now if they even try and put like the Rittenhouse thing, the biggest thing about that was I don't think everyone was like, this is a thing for BLM or whatever it was called. Yeah, it was BLM. And they go, he shot white people, right? And then everyone's like, what? I was like, yeah, he shot white people. And two of those white people were fucking convicted felons.
Pedophile and then
and one of them got all their charges cleared 6 days before the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, even though it's been pending for years because the prosecutors were like, hey man, they're going to bring this up, the defenses, you need to clear these out. That's sketchy in itself. But with that whole court case thing, the narrative that was spun on the news was that the man had his hands up and Rittenhouse shot. The man had a gun.
Yeah, pointed toward his head. They said he crossed state lines, which he didn't. He was already in there. They said the gun was illegal, which it wasn't. And now they're all backpedaling. They're all like, "Oh, we found out. Well, shouldn't have you found out before you fucking drug this person's name?
Well,
all through the mud. He's a white supremacist.
Here's the biggest thing is it so crazy to think that it's a conspiracy or whatever people say that's a conspiracy? Is it so crazy to think that the news has found a way to profit by just selling you something that's going to immediately trigger you? That's exactly what they're there for, is view times and clicks. They don't give a shit. And here's the funny thing is I see somebody put up a post about, oh, look at this. The number of COVID cases are going up in New York. It must be children since everyone's already got their first dose. I'm like,
oh, and it just coincides with now that they're allowing children to get the shot, right?
Well, I'm just sitting there like, hang on a second. Like, does anybody think like, okay, all it says is the number of cases have gone up, and that person just inferred by retweeting it, saying that it must be children since everyone's gotten their first dose. I'm like, you understand that there's no cure for this thing yet, right? Like, and that's what gets me is that like people are just so like I think they're wrongly brainwashed. And it's,
did you see the German doctor that committed suicide because he came out? There's a German doctor that came out and said that he could no longer continue practicing because of the pressure that he was getting to to treat in the way that he was treating. You just said that it doesn't have anything to do with the virus. It's about total world control. Like they're trying to push this one world order thing, and then 2 weeks later he winds up dead.
It's so hard to tell now, but I think what this creates in this world is that we're allowing these things to make us more divided, and it's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse to a point where there's not going to be a reason for people to talk to other people anymore. And then actually you're going to be punished when you do, because now they've made their goal achieved by not, people don't want to associate anymore. People don't want to talk to, it's, do you want to go out in the street and talk to people? Do you feel the need to go out in the street and talk to people? No. Do you think that's going to only get better? No, it's going to get worse. It's going to get to the point where you're not going to feel the need to even message people anymore, where people don't hang out with their friends anymore because it's, oh, the idea of like, I just don't feel like it. You don't feel like it because it's not a priority anymore. They took that away from you. It's going to get worse. It's going to get to a point where you're eventually not going to want to talk to people. You're not going to care about ever leaving your home anymore, because now they can just be like, okay, well, guess what? You've kind of given up your right to, that's the whole thing with the self-defense thing that everyone was standing on these trials about. And it's funny because the Ghislaine Maxwell trial is coming up. I better see news coverage on that shit. I better see a bunch of fucking news shit on that.
Well, how about the guy that ran his car through the fucking...
I watched that yesterday on the news yesterday.
And just the bias, the difference.
I thought they were going to show the fucking car hitting people. I was like, Jesus Christ, what have we gotten to?
Kinda.
They showed it like a picture of it veering into people. But I was like, did you see the kid that, this is where I thought of you.
By like an
dude,
inch.
that's where I thought of you. I was like, oh my God, imagine like if that, like, I could understand Bobby's pain in that losing something. Like that was a split second where it's like, you almost just lost your fucking kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I started lactating and everything. I was like, oh my God.
That's why I'm always so nervous when we're out all the time.
It's you don't fucking know, man, where you could be in a fucking pizza shop where your kid's team's celebrating a baseball win, and next thing you know, the fucking guy comes in with a gun. That's how crazy the world's getting into. And that fear is exactly what they profit off of. That narrative that the news spins is exactly, next thing you see the government say something about, well, we got to take away all guns so this doesn't happen. It's like, fuck, man, that's where it all fucking happens. That's where it starts. One's getting you with the brainwashing, the other one's just implementing laws, acting like they're being a hero when really they're taking away who you are. They don't want you to be free.
Executive order. Pass a mandate. We're mandating it. What? You're going out on a date with a man? What? I don't understand what you just said.
If you want.
Well, they're still pushing these mandates where the Supreme Court came out and said no, the president can't use OSHA to mandate these things. And then the cities in the state are still like, yeah, we're still mandating it. I'm like, how are you more important than the Supreme Court of the United States?
Grab your feed bucket, head up to the Golden Corral, and get your goddamn food on.
I'm trying to explain this stuff to my wife. I'm like, we need to get the fuck out of here. We need to go as far away from civilization. You need to go out into like the
mountains or some shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell her. I was like, we just need to go buy a farm. And she's like, buying, a farm's not easy. And I'm like, no shit. But living in this culture right now is not easy.
Well, they used to pay people to go to like, they used to be like really low to get a home in Texas. Now you have to pay out the ass to live in Texas because everyone's moving
fucking there. California's running there. Yeah. They're just going to ruin it. It's going to ruin Texas.
I don't know. We've been talking for almost 2 hours. We're about to wrap it up.
Yeah, I hear my family's waking up.
I heard the microwave making a noise. I was like, oh, someone's heating up a coffee or something.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they're heating up. I hope they're not feeding the cat again.
Put your cat food in the microwave?
Yeah, she doesn't like it cold.
Fucking picky. That's what happened. You let the door open for that.
My mother did it. My mother spoiled the cat, and now, like the fresh, like when you first open the can, she'll eat that, and then when you put it in the refrigerator and then break out the next serving, you gotta pop it in the mic for 7 seconds. Yeah.
Well, where can people find you, Bobby?
Nowhere. I'm going into my bunker, and I'm not coming out again.
Okay. I'll still link your links in the description.
I'm going offline.
That's what we should all
Matrix. I'm leaving the Matrix.
Unplug.
I'm done.
Unplug and Unjustified. The new show with Bobby
all my apps. I'm gonna get a flip phone, and you know, come with a battery that you could still take
You're
in
gonna
and
be
out.
labeled as a drug dealer.
I'm gonna start my prepper camp.
Well, and on that note, the tune is done.
Deuces.
Peace.